Hey, what's going on, everybody? I hope you're having a good day as always. My name is Michael and thank you for joining me. Today I'm really excited to participate in a collaborative effort when it comes to talking about real estate and buying your first home because Dennis from the channel True Financials emailed me pretty much congratulating me on me getting my real estate license and wanted to know if I would help, or I guess join him rather, in answering a few questions about those prospective home buyers. So that's what I want to talk about today. Guys, if you're at all interested in this process and working directly, or maybe you're looking for an agent but you don't really know where to start and you live outside of the state of Texas where I live, feel free to email me anytime, MichaelRedding@kw.com, link down below. But let's just dive right in. Dennis's first question starts off with a bang. What is the #1 piece of advice I would give to future home buyers or first-time home buyers? And as much as I wish I could just say it's one piece of advice, me personally, I want to share two. Right? And this is not me as an agent telling you this is what you should do. Really, this is just me kind of rewinding the clock and remembering what it was like when I bought my first house. I was like 23 years old, and my biggest mistake, my #1 mistake, is I bought too expensive of a home. You know, I figured that me and my girlfriend, we were approved for this dollar amount by the bank, therefore I should spend close to that dollar amount, or at least I should get the nicest house that I can for that dollar amount, right? The bank wouldn't approve me if I couldn't afford it, and that was my biggest mistake. I should have spent much less. In fact, I remember one house that I looked at was about $153,000, and I ended up buying a house that was $189,000. Now, at the end of the day, it all worked out, right? I sold that house. It was close to like a year and a half, 2 years later, and I made money on it. In fact, I made a decent amount of money on it, but that was just timing. That was good timing and lucky timing. It's not that's going to happen every single time. So my biggest piece of advice would be do not overspend. Do not buy the nicest house or the most expensive a house that you're approved for, right? Another reason why is because, you know, you're never going to find the perfect house. I felt like, oh, this house is so great, I don't need to do anything to it, right? And therefore I'll justify spending as much as I did. But guess what? A year, 2 years later, you're gonna realize, oh, I wanna change this, or I wanna upgrade that, right? And now you're spending even more money on this house that was already at the top end of your budget. So again, it's really simple. Do not overspend. And the second piece of advice for this first question would be do not get started in this process at all until you know you're approved, right? Get a pre-approval from your lender. Start there because you do not want to be in the middle of negotiations when you put an offer in on a house only to find out that, oh, your lender didn't approve you, right? Now you have to back out of that deal. You got your hopes up and it wasn't a fun experience. Or maybe, you know, you're coming in with an offer and it's contingent upon you getting approved through this other lender, but someone else comes in and says, hey, I've already got approval, or maybe it's a cash purchase. Either way, the seller is more than likely going to go with that option because they don't have to wait. That's a done deal. It's ready to go. So again, there's no point in getting your hopes up in this property that you love if you don't even know that you're approved right away. So those are my two biggest pieces of advice. Next, he had asked, what are my biggest mistakes in the home buying process? And I would say my biggest mistake was again, kind of two things. #1, I did not understand how frustrating of a process it is. Right? I worked at the credit union. My first loan was through my credit union, and ultimately they were a lot easier than the first company I was working with, but either way, it is an annoying process. I mean, you were giving so much paperwork, so many verification documents. It's just a nightmare. You think it's, oh, I just need to get approved just like a car loan and it's a done deal. Not at all. It is a very, very time-consuming process. And again, it pulls at your emotions far more than most any other transaction will. So when you go into this process, please understand it is not going to be just easy street, fun times, and go look at houses and that's that. It is a process. It is a freaking difficult process at times. So I underestimated just how much it took to go through that process. And in addition to that, I would say I took things personally when things were taking longer than I thought, or maybe when I was negotiating. I let the entire process become emotional and I don't advise that, right? So don't take things personally. These bankers are doing their jobs. The seller, they're doing what's best for them. Your agents, they've got their own things that they have to do. So do not take things personally. Just understand that frustrating situations come with the territory of buying a house. Next, Dennis has asked what unexpected expenses arose after you purchased your house. And I can go on and on about this one. And it's not to say that my entire home owning experience has been a bad thing, far from it, but there are a lot of unexpected expenses that do come up. And let me kind of split this into two, because I've owned a house and I've owned a condo. You are going to face, or at least I have faced, a lot more unexpected expenses with a house, right? And that's because mainly I have a front and a backyard to deal with. Now, potentially you've got an irrigation system to deal with. Maybe you want to do some landscaping, or heck, even if you don't want to do landscaping, you've got to keep your grass mowed, or maybe you want to keep your grass green, right? So your water bill is going to be more expensive than you think. And that's just in addition to normal wear and tear stuff that happens with a house. Again, it's a lot more than you realize. Now, with my condo, I had far fewer issues. Now, it could be that, you know, they had recently remodeled a lot of the interior aspects of the condo, and therefore things were newer. But at the end of the day, it's just, you know, you've got your HOA fee to kind of cover a lot of the exterior maintenance issues, and you just don't have to worry about it, right? I don't have a front and backyard. I don't have to worry about maintenance. I don't have to worry about any of that stuff. So from an upkeep standpoint, your house obviously is going to have more expensive than your condo. Now, your HOA fees may be less with your house as opposed to a condo, but still, I think I've had more issues with my house than I have with my condo. All right, question number 4, how long was the home process from, I guess, making an offer into closing? And again, it's different for both the house and the condo. I would say the house, from like looking for a house to actually closing, I can't really remember. I want to say it was like maybe a month and a half. And a lot of the times, you know, you may find a lender that does like a 30-day closing or a 15-day closing. Like from the moment that you make an offer and then you go through inspection and appraisal and all that fun stuff, maybe they can do it in 15 days, which is, I guess in my opinion, a short amount of time. But it's just going to vary from person to person. There's no way to nail down that entire process. You may want to take a lot longer to find a house than some other people. So it's kind of hard to determine. Now, as far as my condo situation goes, it was really a developer remodeled an old hotel and converted those into condominiums. So I got to kind of choose like the furnishings and the fixtures and all that other stuff. So I want to say it was March or April of 2013 that I actually made an offer and it was accepted, and I moved in like September of that year. So, you know, if you're doing anything similar or you're buying a lot and you're building a house, obviously that's going to take a lot longer. So this question is kind of hard to give you a definitive answer, because I've had both a relatively quick process and then I've had the long drawn out building process. So I hope that helps. Next, how did I find my realtor? In every single situation, it was a referral from somebody else. And, you know, as a future real estate agent and I guess current real estate agent, let me tell you that more than likely, that's what these people are going for, right? You want to treat them well during the transaction, so they refer you to their friends and family later on. And that's what happened to me. I didn't know anyone personally, but my coworker used a realtor, and therefore I used him for my very first home purchase. You know, a little while later, my brother bought a condo, and so I used the realtor that he had used. So I just found someone through someone else every single time. And just like I said earlier, guys, if you're trying to find an agent and you don't necessarily know what to look for, feel free to email me, MichaelRedding@kw.com. Now, I probably should have read this, but there was a second part to that question that said, did you have a good experience? I would say with every single situation, yes. I've had no real issues with them, but I will say that, guys, there's so much to this process that make sure you trust your agent and make sure you're getting all of your questions answered, right? You're not their only client, more than likely, so they may be juggling a whole bunch of contracts or listings or buyers, and so you may not, I don't want to say get lost in the crowd, but you may not necessarily have the questions answered in the timely way that you want to, or you may not feel like the questions that you've asked are satisfactorily answered. Make sure you understand everything. Do not go through really anything without fully understanding every aspect of the transaction, because, guys, this is one of the biggest transactions you're ever going to make. You need to make sure you're comfortable with everything. Now, the last question is, are you making extra payments on your house, and or is your house paid off? No, my condo is not paid off. However, I now use it as a rental property since me and my girlfriend live in this house. So I'm able to rent it out for more than all the bills, and I'm able to profit on that, and I roll those profits into my actual monthly payment, right? So I've got my standard payment going out, and then I use the profits and proceeds from that to also make an extra payment. So I should be able to pay it off faster and save some interest. Now I also want to say that another big difference between the condo and the house for me was that because my house was my first purchase and it was more expensive, my down payment wasn't enough to avoid mortgage insurance, right? I had to pay for that. Whereas the second time that I bought my condo, I was able to put more than 20% down, right? It was just a lower expense, right? The first house I bought was $189,000. The condo was $119,000, right? And so I was able to put a much larger percentage down for the condo, and that saved me a lot of money by not having to pay mortgage insurance. Now you probably already know this, but your mortgage insurance is not the same thing as homeowners insurance. And if you have any questions about that, let me know. But those are all the questions that Dennis had asked. This is something that I plan on talking about much more often, and I would love to share my experience, both again with the condo, with the house. If you've got any questions, email me anytime. But again, this is something I want to talk about more and more on my channel. But that's what I want to talk about today. Thank you very much, Dennis, for including me with this. Guys, if you've got any questions, don't hesitate to comment down below. But thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, share. You guys know what to do, but take care. I'll see you guys next time. Hey guys, I know I just said this stuff, but let me say it again. Thank you so much for watching this video. I appreciate all the support that you guys give me. And to support you, here's 2 more videos that I've made in the past in case you haven't seen them. Don't forget to share these with your friends and family so we can help all the people achieve their financial goals. Likewise, if there's anything that you would want to see made that you haven't seen thus far, definitely don't hesitate to let me know. But thanks again, take care, and have a good day.